Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, earlier today, family, I watched a video that was so sickening that I had to literally gain my composure. I had to come back to it because it is that disturbing. Now, the video is definitely not something that can be posted on YouTube, but I can most certainly talk about it. In the video, you will see where a group of young women are attacking another young woman that's by herself with her child, and then a young man who looks to be, I'm going to say he looks like a teenager. In the article they said that a man did this, but it was actually a teenager from what everything looks like, but he literally drop kicks a little child. And so this video is a rebuke of those actions. Okay, I will leave a link in the description area. The video is posted. Imagine the content that we're going to show here, because these are okay, but this is so horrific. I literally had to gain my composure. But what I wanted to say in this video is that this definitely does not reflect all of the Black community. We know this. But does that mean we don't talk about this stuff? Because what I saw in this video was just gut-wrenching. First of all, when the young woman who was being beat, and just as I'm looking at this, I gotta stop looking at the screen because I feel tears coming again. Okay, as she was getting up from after being just beat down, and she's getting up, it looks like she's going for her daughter, who was already drop kicked in the head and face by this young 3 or 4 years old. The little girl's reaching for her mom, and the mom is trying to get to her, and then someone comes again and gives one last kick, and she goes face first into the door. And so as I'm looking at this, we wonder why so many things happen to us as a people and why no one takes us serious. Okay, number one, some of you don't believe in curses. Some of you don't believe in that type of thing. But you can best believe that what is happening in the black community as a whole is certainly not a blessing. It's something. Even if you don't believe in the Bible, you can't deny that something is definitely off and wrong in the Black community. This video is so horrible, so horrific, that someone needs to go to jail. As a matter of fact, a group of people. Now, I know there are those of you who say, I'm tired of our people going to jail. That's those of you who take pity on the perpetrators. You take more pity on the perpetrators than you do the victims. And then there are those who are looking for an excuse or a reason to justify this. Well, you don't know what she did to deserve that. Okay, now let's just say, for argument's sake, that she did something to deserve this. I still don't condone it, but let's just say for argument's sake that she did. What does this little child have to do with it? What kind of low down, rotten, dirty person would put their foot on a child's face and head like that? See, we as a whole have some serious problems and issues. One of those is coddling evildoers in our communities. We're always sitting back talking about what other people are doing, how other people hate us. Why do you care if other people hate us when it seems as though we hate ourselves more? Look at this stuff. And I know this is not all of us, because I'm definitely not one of those who hate my people. Quite the contrary, I love my people, but I'm tired. Many of us are tired of the constant wickedness that keeps getting shoved under a rug by those of you who say, hey, look over there. Look at what the white man's doing. While at the same time over here, trying to get us to ignore what the black man and woman is doing. There's no point in us talking about what Becky, Brad, and Karen are doing if we're not going to collectively clean house. Now, there are those of us out here who are screaming to the top of our lungs about what we need to do and to improve as a people. But then you also have, on the flip side of that, just from looking in the comment section of a lot of these videos, you see the excuse makers talking about how somebody was raised or they didn't know any better, like we some fetuses. When I hear grown people talking about another grown person didn't know any better, here we have young people that are clearly teenagers. I don't care if they're 12, 13, 14. When I look at my 12-year-old, well, I don't have a 12-year-old at this point. My 12-year-old is already 13, but good example. When he is 12. He's about to turn 13. Anyway, so it works. What I'm about to say works. My 12-year-old knows better about a lot of these things. So when I hear people saying they didn't know any better, you got young people out here literally pulling triggers, stomping heads in the ground. And then you got a big group of grown black folk talking about they didn't know any better. I never will understand that foolishness. That's foolish talk to me. You talking about they didn't know any better, or they weren't raised right. They had a rough upbringing. So now the excuse will continue to be that because someone had a rough upbringing, they're going to hand it to somebody else rough. We're going to continue to use that we didn't know any better stuff as an excuse to justify wickedness. Have a look at this video. I looked at it a few times because, first of all, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and then I showed it to my husband. I can't share the video on YouTube, but I can certainly share the link. It's horrible. This is ridiculous. This young teenager literally took to the sky like a kung fu kick to the little girl's face and head. And yet we wonder why everyone else looks at us with a shaking of the head like, what the heck am I looking at? It is shameful. If you don't think it's shameful, you are definitely a part of the problem. This is ridiculous. I couldn't imagine some big overgrown young man literally leaping across the air to kick a little girl in the face and head. What kind of bull crap is that? And then we want to march and say Black Lives Matter? Oh my goodness. I understand the slogan, Black Lives Matter. We're basically saying that our lives matter too, because others have acted as if they don't. But guess who else is acting as if black lives don't matter? Yep, you guessed it. If you said black folk, you guessed right. A lot of black folk act like black lives don't matter. And I'm not just talking about the violence. I am also talking about how we treat one another. How our men can't stand our women and our women can't stand our men. And we're all crossing over, don't even want to create children that look like us. Despicable. If you don't think it's despicable, again, you are a part of the problem. We look at other races of people and we're so jealous about how we think they have things together. Well, how the heck do you expect to get anything together when you despise your own self and your own people and you treat your own people like trash? I know it's easier than just a conversation on YouTube or a video on YouTube. We try to cram as much as we can into a 5 or 6 hour documentary White It Out Part 5, The Curse of Generational Curses. We tried to cram a bunch of it in there to try to get you to understand. So certainly this little short video is not meant to do that. I would encourage you to watch White It Out Part 5. Watch it because it will give you so much information about why we are in the condition that we are in as a people. This video just had me so bothered. I cried, family. Many times when I do that, it's because I'm crying in prayer, okay? And I'm crying at the condition of our people. It hurts. It is sad. It bothers me. I don't expect everyone to cry because I do. Some of us do, some of us don't. Okay? But what came over me when I saw this young man doing this to this child, it was actually rage, okay? But the only way that I could deal with it was to cry because of what my eyes were beholding as he hurt this child, and I saw her reaching up for her mother. Those little arms reaching, they really got to me. And I couldn't imagine the monstrous mind behind the actions against that young woman and her child. Okay, family, look for the link in the description area. I'm out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.